je taril wa je commando ya ina lela wa je commando kana jo nar falam le Sudan jadid je dan mazala je commando shabab taril ya umar bashid isma damna wa dab je taril al sawar lela kum saraya la gal al misr Sudan yagib دوبا مسارك بليبيا السودان يجيب يا عمر زادت المشاكل السودان لو ما يجيب نار كلام جاي صورة السؤال جاي شارين ما يجيب في نار يا كوماندور ركب سونجي جالقو مسؤول قدم لهجوم كلام جاي صورة كلام جاي شارين ما يجيب في نار عمر ديو.
There is a colonial past, a historical past. No one wants to blame. No one wants to chide anybody and say, you owe us. No. But a lot of us believe that the British government, the people in the UK, they have a historical link with the people in the Sudan. They ruled the country as part of the old system. And I think that their encouragement at this time, their support, would do a lot in trying to bring these groups together, acting as a sort of older uncle, if you like, to encourage them, and as well the Sudan government. After all, they were the people who were there, and in 1956, up until that point, were ruling the country.
Throughout my journalistic career, I have raised these questions more frequently as to why Sudanese are killing each other. What are the root causes of the war? In addition, why has it taken so long for both parties to reach a peaceful solution? The only answer I often get is that the war in the Sudan is about religion. Christians against Muslims, black Africans against Arabs, which to me is a simplification of the overall root causes of this long and bloody war.
Every Sudanese, especially people from the marginalized area, they know the reason why we are fighting for. The old men, even the young one. And they know that the cause for which SPLA is fighting for is a genuine cause, and it just takes us maybe very little to explain to the people the reason why we are fighting, and most of them come up to take arm and participate with us in the struggle.
كما تستشعر أمة الإسلام اليوم وللسودان مع الجهاد صحبة طيبة فقد مرغ به أنف الكفر وهدم الإمبراطورية التي لا تغيب الشمس عن محمياتها واستنقذ أمة من قيود العبودية.
The warlords in Sudan unfortunately have developed such a mentality of cruelty, insensitivity, and even vitalism towards the suffering of their brothers and sisters, that in many cases their behavior scarcely deserves to be called human. Whole towns and villages have been destroyed, thousands displaced and rendered homeless, surviving on leaves and wild fruits, all in the name of war. Successive governments have deliberately closed their eyes to social and political injustice, discrimination, exploitation, and oppression of citizens because of their race or religion, and in order that those in power may stay in power.
The future is for the southern Sudanese people to decide. We can help them as outsiders, but I believe that if they all say with one voice what they really want, which I believe is self-determination, if that's what they want, they should say it wherever they are, whether they're in Khartoum, whether they're with John Garang, whether they're with Riek Machar, whether they're in Washington, whether they're in Ethiopia. They should say what they want. And if they all say that they want a referendum in which they decide their own future, they will get it. But they have to make that decision.
After the signing of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement between the Sudan People's Liberation Movement and the ruling National Congress Party, it was more evident that the SPLM has the potential to becoming a major political party in the Sudanese political scene. It stands in an extremely strong position with many opportunities at its feet, and one hopes it remains that way and not sleepwalk to its downfall. The reception of the SPLM delegation in Khartoum was electrifying, to say the least. However, there are regional and other marginalized groups that see an alliance with the SPLM as natural, including Darfur, Bija, Nuba Mountains, and Southern Blue Nile.
دكتور جون جارن ديما بيور رئيس الحركة الشعبية لتحرير السودان، نائبا أول لرئيس الجمهورية ورئيسا لحكومة جنوب السودان، صدر تحت توقيعي في اليوم الثاني من شهر جمادى الثاني 1426 هجرية الموافق اليوم التاسع من شهر يوليو 2005 مشير عمر حسن أحمد البشير رئيس الجمهورية.
I greet you on behalf of the injured, the orphans and widows on both sides. And on behalf of all those Sudanese who perished in the war and those who lost their loved ones and property in the protracted and violent conflict, I assure you that that conflict is over. Fellow countrymen and women, congratulations for the dawn of peace. Today, July 9th, 2005, is Sudan's Day. The SPLM and the National Congress have delivered to you the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, a just and honorable peace with dignity for all. The Comprehensive Peace Agreement will not be complete and comprehensive for as long as there is war in Darfur and Eastern Sudan. And the SPLM and the National Congress must do everything necessary by all the Sudanese people and for all the Sudanese people.
The responsibility for bringing the everlasting peace in the Sudan is very unpredictable indeed, unless the SPLA-SPLM and the government of Sudan, before the interim period ends, start reconciling and forgiving each other for all the atrocities committed, as the South Africans did. Otherwise, their gods will haunt them forever, and another civil war will be imminent. The main obstacles are the old regime's lack of will to embrace genuine power sharing and elections, and ultimately allow Southern self-determination referendum after 6 years interim period, and lack of capacity in the South to establish and empower basic structures of governance. There are signs the National Congress Party seeks to undercut implementation through its use of the militias, the South Sudan Defense Forces, bribery, and through the tactics of divide and rule. It actively encourages hostilities between Southern groups with the hope that intra-South fighting will prove sufficiently destabilizing that the referendum can be postponed indefinitely without its being blamed. These tactics will likely intensify if pressure over Darfur diminishes. Therefore, more consistent, proactive and forceful engagement by the international community is another required ingredient to see the Comprehensive Peace Agreement peacefully through the pitfall that lie ahead. The current equation for peace cohabitation in Sudan, that is one bank with two windows, one integrated army unit with a bulk of forces detached from the unity government, one government with two separate policies, is a worrying one. The National Congress Party has the capacity to implement but lacks the political will. The SPLM, on the other hand, has the commitment but is still weak and disorganized. There is a real risk of renewed conflict down the road unless the National Congress Party begins to implement the Comprehensive Peace Agreement in good faith and the SPLM becomes a stronger and more effective implementing partner. The international community, which has largely abandoned the political engagement and commitment that was so crucial to achieving the peace agreement in the first place, must forcefully re-engage with the process to ensure the agreement's successful implementation. Otherwise, the peace cohabitation between the government of South Sudan and the National Congress Party will not bear fruits. but instead becomes a bogus cohabitation.